Hey everyone, Outer here. I have an emergency alert. Breaking news, folks. The Army Corps of Engineers is coming to my plant that I work at tomorrow morning. I just found out about this today and actually got a text message from a buddy of mine that also works at the plant, who messaged me saying, what you were saying earlier about, World War II and, manufacturing plants being turned into hyper belts for the military-industrial complex to build munitions seems more of a reality now. He was like, did you hear that the Army Corps of Engineers is coming to the plant tomorrow? Well, yes, they're coming to the plant tomorrow. This plant that I work at here in West Virginia manufactures engines and transmissions. And I find it interesting that the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be there. They haven't been there the entire time I've worked there. People I know that have worked at the plant for years have said they did not know anything about this and have never seen this before. The plant I work at runs off solar energy. Okay, it is green to a T. It is one of the cleanest plants I've ever worked in my life. And I've worked in foundry, I've worked in logistic services at other places. I've worked in a packaging plant, and I've never worked in a more clean and organized plant. They're very strict about everything that they do when it comes to chemical spills, cleaning, and all that stuff. There's no reason for the Army Corps of Engineers to be there other than for what the congressional, I believe it was the House or Senate, I can't remember, but they just put out a thing stating that the Department of Defense now is to open up hundreds of the old munitions facilities to create ammo and shells for Ukraine/NATO. And then now all of a sudden, they show up at this plant. Folks, I'm telling you right now, something wicked this way comes. And now with the Russian subs and ships down there in Havana, Cuba, plus the nuclear bombers and ships that have already been stationed in Venezuela years ago, if you guys remember that, they're still there. And all this other stuff that's going on right now, folks, across the world, as we are literally poking every enemy we possibly can, trying to spark a war so we can eradicate debt by bolstering the military-industrial complex, is now spiraling into a void, a black hole, in which it is almost merely now impossible to escape. Folks, for those of you who don't know the history of the Army Corps of Engineers, you all might remember, those of you who are well versed and knowledged in history, know about World War II. And when our men and boys were overseas fighting, our women had to stay at home with the kids. While the women were at home, we needed people to build munitions. So the United States created a slogan that said, "We can do it," and showed a strong woman flexing her bicep to bring women to work to build tanks and planes and munitions. So, but then building these various types of munitions, corporations such as General Motors, for instance, was manufacturing tanks for the United States military. Their factories, their manufacturing plants were transformed into hyper belts for the military establishment. We build engines and transmissions at our plant, and the Army Corps of Engineers is there. I mean, how many wake-up calls do we need to recognize that we are going to war? Do we have to wait for some talking political pundit on TV to say, hey, everybody, we're going to war? Or can we use our own brains and common sense here and see the vastness of all of the travesties happening on the world? So much now so, to the point that we can't even keep up with it. You try to talk to somebody about it, and it's like, where do you begin? There's so much going on. It's impossible to even speak to the volume of escalation happening to this powder keg we call Earth. Folks, please be prepared. And I pray if you're not prepared, get prepared as soon as possible. Have a plan of action ready. Tell your family and your friends to coordinate plans of action in case something happens. Go out, buy some sterno. Get some fishing lines, fishing poles. Plastic bags, like trash bags, other things. Weapons to protect yourselves. Anything and everything that you possibly can get a hold of that's going to protect you and your family's future and have, future security. If we make it through this. Folks, I pray for our nation, and I pray for the innocent in the world. And I pray and ask our children and our children's children to forgive us for not putting a stop to this when we had a chance. But anyways, folks, I wanted to let you guys know that and read this to you here. It says, Combat and Military Construction, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It had built 149 munitions and aircraft manufacturing plants and constructed depots with 250 million square feet of storage space. What is the purpose of the Army Corps of Engineers? Deliver vital engineering solutions in collaboration with our partners to secure our nation, energize our economy, and reduce disaster risk. If our plant is struck by a missile, because it is a manufacturing plant, so it would be a target, how do they minimize disaster risk? Knowing that it would leak right into the Canal River. How would this plant be utilized, knowing that it is in a very secluded location? To be able to manufacture engines and transmissions for weapons of war. I just pray everyone opens their eyes. I love you all. God bless you all. And I'll see you all in the next one.